Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if you can hear it, but my dogs are going crazy. I think the Amazon guy is here.
Ah, lovely. Trying to fix my camera.
Amazon is one of those companies that you love and hate at the same time. Like, love the convenience, but you hate being beholden to the big corporation.
And it's so hard not to use them.
I know. This is my makeup, my tinted moisturizer that I wear. And I'm leaving in a week for a travel conference. I'm looking ahead at all the things I have on my schedule. I'm like, I am not going to be able to get to where I buy it, and I'm just like, see if Amazon has it, and they do. It's $3 more than I pay, and I don't care. I'm just ordering it. Makes our lives easier.
Hard. Well, it's like last night. My rug got ruined, and the dog trapped in water. And I'm like, "Yep, ordering a new rug," and it was just so easy to Amazon pop.
It'll be there. It is. Yep. Although I don't know if you get these delivering to you. I mean, I get the Amazon truck, but then I also like a random Subaru Outback that I don't know pulling into my driveway, and then someone gets out with the box. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
So, yeah, we have a mix of those too, because I just had a cute little Nissan just buzzed through. I was like, what is that? And then we get the Amazon trucks, and sometimes you get the UPS. So yeah, we have a variety.
Yep. So anyway, we were just chatting to get some time for a few more people to get in the room. Hi, Marge. Hi, Bibiana and Christopher. I haven't seen you guys' names before. Maybe I have, but welcome. If this is your first lunch, the way we work is we're going to tell the topic and share some information. The comments are open. You can ask questions as we go. You can, comment whatever you like. And if we're talking about, we will pull it into the conversation. If you have questions at the end that are not related to this topic, we'll open up time for that as well. So it's a great time, especially for new agents, to just, it's a safe space. Ask your dumb questions. It may feel like a dumb question to you, but I can guarantee it's been asked about 1,000 times before. Everybody is new. Everybody has to zero and build this business from the bottom up. So you're all learning. I'm still learning 7 years in. I'm sure Becky is still learning.
Oh gosh, yes.
10 years
always something new.
Yes.
Always something new.
Always something new. So today's topic is going to be booking it. So this is our presentation on how to physically book something. The actual steps you're going to take as you book your client's travel. We'll describe how to do every single supplier because everybody has a slightly different format. This is going to be kind of a general overview. If you have questions on a specific supplier, absolutely reach out or pop it in the comments. Yes. Okay, so booking it, all the steps start to finish. Why is it important to understand the process? It's going to be important to deliver accurate and efficient service. You don't want to make mistakes for your client. You want to make sure that you're doing it right and doing it so that they're not waiting forever to get this taken, which is going to make your clients happy and have them be repeat clients to you trip after trip. Allow agents to provide tailored recommendations, handle any unexpected issues, and ensure with policies, reducing the risk of errors or Mastering the process also helps identify selling opportunities, boosting revenue. I was just talking about this yesterday with my Elevate class. Upselling is kind of like when you're in a restaurant and they bring around the tray of desserts. Like, it's very easy to sit at the table and say, oh, I'm not going to order dessert. But when they bring the tray around and you see it and what you could have, you are much more likely to get that cheesecake than if they didn't show it to you. So that is what upselling is. That's the opportunity to add those little extras, those desserts to your client's trip that they may add to their trip, which increases your revenue.
Your example is so classy. I always think, would you like fries with that?
That works too. It was. I also think of that aisle at TJ Maxx when you're checking out and there's all that stuff that you just like throw in your cart because
and it
you
gets
can't
me
help yourself.
every time.
Gets me every time too. Usually it's some random weird chip that like a guacamole quinoa chip or something. Anyway, and then it's going to allow you to manage your time efficiently. If you know how to book, trying to figure it out on the go, meet your deadlines, keep operating smooth. And this is going to be the key to building a strong, successful business. The booking process should be smooth, should be easy.
Yes.
Between you and your client. So understanding it and not floundering in the process is going to make you look so much more professional. So that is why we're learning about that today. The steps you're going to take before you start that process are going to be some things we actually talked about in the last launches. And if you haven't seen them yet, you can go back and find them. They're also going to ultimately be posted on our new TA portal under the learning management system, the LMS. All of these launch lessons will be in there. And then also, for now, you can still get them in the event page on the Facebook group. Qualify the client. You've asked all questions you need to ask, and you have all their information. Make sure you've researched that vacation and you know all the things that you need to book to make it work. Quote that vacation to your client. You've already priced it. You've already selected all the components. Make sure you have the appropriate logins for the suppliers you're going to use. The supplier listing is the only place we book from. So do not quote your client something that you saw on Expedia or on some site and then go looking for it after they approve it. You need to make sure that you can get that property or that that thing, that tour, that whatever, through our suppliers in our supplier listing. If you try to book with a supplier that is not in our supplier listing, one, you get paid, and two, you'd be in violation of our terms and conditions. So make sure you use our suppliers, and our suppliers are fantastic. And a lot of things that agents are looking for are kind of hidden in our supplier list inside other suppliers. So there are literally thousands upon thousands of hotels and resorts across this world. We cannot possibly maintain a direct with every single one, which is why we work with travel consolidators like VAX, like Clap Vacations, like Pleasant Holidays, who bundle a whole bunch of properties under one umbrella. So if you're looking for something and you're like, man, I didn't see Great Wolf Lodge listed in the supplier listing, that does not mean we can't book Great Wolf Lodge. It means it's inside something else, and in our case, it's classic. Usually those Great Lake Lodges are in classic. So make sure you have, go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to say, the only time I ever look at the consumer site is if I'm price matching. Honestly, that's the only time I do, or if I easy but before I even get to the quote process, I close down that consumer site completely.
Yep.
Just do not want to do that.
Yep, because then you'll make mistakes. So always do it through our suppliers. So then you're going to collect your client data and collect your payment data. Those two things are necessary to make that booking. So you need for client data, you're going to need their names as they appear on their passports. Even if you're booking domestically, I always ask for their names as they appear on their passports. That way it's in CRM, and they don't have to ask them again. So the year when they decide to book that Mediterranean cruise or that, trip to England or whatever, and they are going to use a passport, I already have it. First, middle, last, correct spelling, exactly as it appears on their passport. Dates of birth, genders, addresses, phone numbers, email contacts, passport dates. Sometimes they ask for the expiration date, and sometimes they ask for the issue date and the expiration date. Make sure you have both. And you may need to know the country of issue if it's a foreign. I have some clients traveling next week for spring break. Dad's American and the wife and kids are Canadian, and they all live in Windsor, which is right across the border from Detroit. I'm in Michigan, for those of you who didn't know, and it's snowing today. But anyway, make sure you have country of issue, their nationality, any special needs, food allergies, or special requests. If you know that they need to be on a ground floor, if you know that there's some serious allergies, make sure you're noting that.
Because I just spoke to a girl yesterday. She's vegan by necessity because of her body, things like that. And she went to a travel agent. They booked her on a ship, and they completely had vegan options. It was the same thing for dinner every night. And I was, oh,
that's terrible. Yes. Yeah. Always make sure that's part of that qualifying and researching and quoting process. Ask all the right questions. Sure. And I have a client I'm quoting right now for Italy, and they were very upfront about the food allergies, and the daughter actually has a lot of anxiety about it. That if she eats the wrong thing, it's going to ruin her trip. So that information is right at the top of the request I sent to our that's working on it for me. That this is a big deal. That if she eats wrong the first day, it's going to be over for her for the rest of the trip. So we're going to prioritize that. So make sure you have all that data that you need, that you're not missing anything. We have plenty of room for all this information in our CRM. So once you collect it, that's a great place to store, so you can refer back to it either through the booking process or for future trips. Payment information. You will want to use credit card authorization form. You can download one that's customizable to your brand for less than $1. That's what I did. Client intake form and a credit authorization form. And my credit authorization form also has a insurance waiver at the bottom. It's a twofer. It's nice.
I like that.
Yeah. So when they do the credit auth, they're also saying, I've been advised about insurance. Yes, I want it. No, I don't want it. So that's very cool. Make sure you have their name as it appears on the card. If there's a middle initial, if it's Jonathan, not John, or whatever, make sure you get that correct. Expiration date, card number, C number, that 3 or 4 digit code on the back, address and zip code associated with the card, the amount to be charged. Make sure that they understand what you're charging, or it's that minimum deposit or another amount. The address and zip code associated with the card is important because if it does not match, that won't go through. And if you are doing this, sometimes you book things late at night or on a weekend. If you hit a wall, sometimes it's in the address. I had a client, I must run that for 5 times. She kept telling me it was right, it was right, it was right. And she couldn't understand why it wasn't paying. And then she called her bank, and it turns out that when it moved 4 years prior, she never updated the address because it was a digital statement. She wasn't even getting mail, so it didn't occur to her to change that address on file, and it was so the devil is in the details. Make sure you know all that you have them all correct. Okay. So then you're going to begin by logging into that supplier site. So you've already got your login. You're going to select the hotel, the resort, the itinerary, or the tour, or the cruise ship, whatever you're booking. Make sure you have correct dates. Double, triple check those. One that I thought I selected the right date, and then I looked at the itinerary. I'm like, I'm not going to Bimini. What the heck? So I had to like back out of, like, I had selected the week down. It was all a list together, and I picked the wrong one. So make sure you have dates. Make sure you choose the correct room type or accommodation. The guests, make sure you have the accurate number of guests and their ages at the time of travel. They're very, very finicky, especially all inclusives. All of them define what an adult is differently. Sometimes it's 12 and over, sometimes it's 13 and over, sometimes it's 18 and over. So you need to know how old that guest is when you're traveling. So if you're booking it in September, they're traveling for spring break, and the kid changes ages in November, December, you need to know that so that you have their dates of birth and you know what their ages are. And then air, if you're going to be adding air, make sure you choose the correct flights that you've already discussed with your clients. Then you're going to enter your client details. Usually that's close to the end of the process. You picked all the components, everything is correct. You get to the end and you start inputting their client details. Mistakes in names, mistakes in dates of birth, information can cause issues during check-in. They might not be able to get on a plane. They might not be able to check into their hotel. Make sure that your data is correct. One of the things tricky with some sites, depending on the way they present the date of birth, sometimes it's month, day, year. Sometimes it's day, month, year. So make sure you look at that closely so that you get that correct for that client. Legal and security compliance. Many airlines and countries require accurate personal information to meet legal and security regulations. Incorrect details may result in penalties with visa entry requirements. Errors in bookings may require costly changes or rebookings, leading to additional fees for your clients or for you as the agent. Accurately entered information saves time and money. Demonstrating attention to detail and professionalism in handling sensitive personal data builds confidence. The wrong birth date, now it's $25 more. You do professional.
No.
Make sure that you are super accurate. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. And then make sure that you get it right, because the insurance needs to be valid. Correct client information, incorrect information can invalidate travel insurance, leaving clients without coverage in case of emergency. So you need to make sure that is correct as well. Insurance companies are great, but they also are looking for reasons to deny coverage. So don't give them any. Make sure you're accurate. Then make sure you're verifying all the inclusions, everything you thought you had included in this package, whether it's insurance, whether it's gratuities, transfers, dining and drink options, extras like photo packages, onboard credit, excursion credits, tours, anything that you're booking in that window, make sure every single item is included. Make sure you've done the supplier training, because that will help you understand what the engine is like and what they offer. If there are boxes to be checked or unchecked, make sure that you have done it accurately. I oopsed on a client recently, and it happens to us all the time.
Yes.
I had booked it, and there's 5 girls in the room, 4 girls in the room. They're all from different families, so they're all coming in on different flights with their parents. The 4 girls have a room together. In order to get them picked up at different times, I had to call in and have them split the 4 reservations. 1, 2, 3, 4. When it did that, it changed the default arrival airport, and I didn't see it at that time. I assumed what I had entered pre for the arrival airport for the main guest would have populated for all guests. It did not. So I printed their travel doc. I was getting ready to mail them, and I was like, "What is this? La Romana? That's not where they're climbing. They're coming to Punta Cana." Fortunately, it was the same price for the transfer, and I'd already charged them for the transfers. So all I had to do was call in and change all those pickups to the right airport. But it could have been a charge. It would have been my fault. So you want to make sure you're checking those. Even when you make a change, make sure the changes reflect what you think they reflect.
Yes.
That was something that I did not see. So double, triple, quadruple checking our work.
And always, when I get done with the booking, when I get the confirmation email, I always send the client email. Always make sure it's the client email that you're sharing and not yours with your commission on it. But I always share the client email, and a girl, she called me back. She goes, "Oh, Becky, you got the I and E on his name." I'm like, "Oh, you're kidding." And she's like, "Nope." But because within an hour of booking, I called back vacation and said, "We need to get this changed." They changed it. Everything was within the 24 hours, so there was no extra fees. But just double yourself. Never hurts to say, "Hey, this is your booking information. Please go through the details and make sure everything is spelled correctly, and we're good to go." And that only one time, knock knock, in 10 years, but still, I'll check.
It's crazy, and it's for me, it's when I get a lot of bookings going on at one time, and I have a lot of spring breakers traveling this year. It just got lost. So
it happens. It happens to us all, no matter how long we've been here or how many times we've been doing it. It never hurts. Printing those documents out, getting that ready for your clients helps you find it, and that's a service you do for your clients, which is awesome.
Yep. All right. So then you're going to enter the payment details. Ensuring that this is accurate is going to help too, and that address thing was a big one for me. Accurate information ensures that transactions are processed smoothly. Errors can lead to declined transactions or delayed bookings, which can be frustrating for clients and potentially impact their travel plans. Make sure you're handling credit card information accurately. From when I do a transaction, I handwrite it, a notepad, and then I enter it into the thing, and then I shred it. I show that every single. I forgot every time these are shredded credit card numbers of my clients. I probably should throw us a fire pit or something. But after I use their card number, shred it. And that's for security purposes. Now on this, I did not update this slide. Our new CRM does not have the capacity to store credit card numbers. It in the 10 years our previous CRM was built, and then we built this one. The laws about holding client information have changed dramatically.
Yes.
So in order to do that, we would have had to plus out that website like to the tunes of thousands and thousands of dollars. So we chose not to do that. You can use, what the heck? Why is it going that way? I need it to go backwards.
Technology. Okay. Hold on, look, if I can get you. I can.
It's not giving me arrows. Anyway,
no, it's
if
not.
you use, I can't. I'm gonna have to just take it down. Oh no, what I'm gonna do right here. There we go. If you choose to store your client's credit card information, you can use a secure site that you secure yourself. And if you choose to do that, that is a choice you make. Some of the CRMs that you can purchase for use, Travefy, TravelJoy, Turn, and things like that, those may also store information if you want to do that. But our in-house gateway one will no longer hold that information. So make sure that you're always handling your clients' financial information carefully and accurately and securely, and not numbers laying around. I always shred them as soon as I do it.
Yes. And it's super important to have that credit card auth form.
Yes. The credit card authorization form will protect you if that client comes back and says, well, I never said you could charge this, and that form tells you, yeah, you did. When I write the credit card, when I have them write the credit card number on the form, I just have them do the last 4 digits. And I write card ending in and the digits. That way the whole number is not written on that form. And just store that digitally because it's not.
And a lot of the new if you do TravelJoy or Travefy, they keep that information for you. TravelJoy just added the when I send my clients a quote, I can attach the credit card authorization form. Love that. So that way, 2 steps in one.
Yes. Being accurate and secure with their data will you, which is a great thing. You want to make sure that they feel confident in giving that number. Occasionally, our suppliers, not all of them, but a lot of them do have a payment link where you can send your client something through the internet where they can fill out and send it back, and you'll never see their number. And that's an option as well. Mistakes of credit card entry can result in extra fees or charges. For example, if a booking is made with incorrect information and might require additional transactions or corrections that could incur extra costs. And then, of course, accurate data entry helps maintain clear and organized records. This is essential for managing bookings, processing refunds, and addressing any issues that may arise. So accuracy is super important, security. So the next steps, once you've booked it, you've paid for it, the screen says congratulations, here's your booking number. You're going to put information for your records. And I usually print to PDF. I don't paper print confirmations for my records, but I do keep an external drive with all my client data confirmations and things like that go in there. Quotations. Then print a confirmation for your client, the client copy. Make sure that it is the client copy. If you inadvertently print the agent copy, it will show them how much you're getting paid, and that's not cool. Not that it's a big secret that we are earning money on these transactions, but since they think they're paying that, and they're really not, because if they the total is going to be the same. The commission built in. So print a client copy, email that copy to your client. Include a message detailing all the inclusions, what is not included. Make sure they're understanding that to review it. Make sure there are no inaccuracies. And then make recommendations for add-on items like car rent, spa treatments, excursions, travel insurance, if you did not include it in the quote, pre or post cruise accommodations, if that's something they need, additional dining or drink packages, upgrades, note the final payment date. They know when the next when they have to pay off, so they can plan for that. Put important dates into your calendar. Make sure that you have put it in your calendar or whatever. Okay. Whatever way that you're going to remind that client of the final payments, make sure you put it in calendar so that you are reminded that they have a payment.
Yes.
And I usually do it about a week out, so I can kind of plan when I'm going to. So if their payment is due on March 10th, I'm going to have a note in my calendar for March 3rd, and I might reach out to them around the 5th or so, maybe 5 days ahead, so that they have a heads up. Even though they know it's coming, sometimes they forget. And sometimes they go out of the country, which happened to Becky.
Yeah, that was crazy. But you know what? It's okay. We recovered and learned a very valuable lesson.
My son is texting me. I'm so sorry.
Hey, kids only want you when they can't have, or when you're busy.
Well, he just landed in France.
So he went on the back.
Well, this is he's on MSC World America, was a brand new ship that MSC is launching very soon. Over there installing the new Dueling Pianos venue with the guy that was all the talent. He's not actually going to play the contract there yet. His friend is going to be the first person on that, and then he hasn't signed the contract yet, but I imagine he will do sometime the end of April for about 3 weeks.
That
really
is
not keen on doing another 6 month contract because it's so long away from home. He has this girlfriend. So anyway, he's wondering about our international plan. Like, did you think maybe before you flew to France, you might inquire about our international? He's all on our phones because it makes sense. He paid for his service, but you think you should that before you go, so mom and dad don't get a $400 bill from being in France. The last thing you're going to do after you make that booking, before you get up your chair, before you walk away from the computer, enter the booking into the CRM. That is so important, because if you tell yourself you'll do it later, you might not, and it's a lot of fussing around. Oh shoot, I have to go back and get that confirmation number. Oh man, what were their travel dates again? It's all in front of you at that moment. Put it in CRM. right then. Yes? Okay.
Great
So the
habit to start.
CRM, you are going to make sure, oh, and this is wrong too. I should have updated this. I didn't even think about it. The client profile, make sure that profile is complete. Again, names as they appear, passport, date of birth, anniversary, address, phone number, email, passport numbers, credit card information is not going to go there. So strike that off the page. And then details about the clients. We have that wonderful new CRM form that you can fill out things about those dietary preferences, maybe some mobility issues, things that they love to do, their hobbies, things like that to help you give a good picture of what that client is. For the new reservation, go into the CRM and add booking. The client name, you only need to put in the lead name to attach to the reservation on that booking. You do not need to put in a separate booking, each person in the room, just one person. The supplier name, the booking number, their travel dates, the total cost of the trip. Make sure it's all of it. Whatever that bottom line is, if their trip costs $4,123.08, put that number in there. Because if we had to go looking for that booking, it didn't enter right or something like that, and we have to go back to the supplier and say, hey, we're missing a commission. It was $4,323.18 or whatever that number is. We need to know that number. So put that in that cost of the trip. Don't estimate. I saw the other day that was like, she just put in $5,000 as a play. Do that. No. Put in the actual number. Put in your expected commission. Usually the supplier site will calculate that. If it is not calculated for you, you can reach out and point to you how to do it. But most supplier sites will put that commission is. And then there's a place to put notes. So in notes, I always do the name of the resort, the name of the ship they're in, what room type they have, any extras or inclusions that we did, are all going to be in those notes. So when I look at it, I can see that it's not just a Marriott booking, it's the, Sunset Marriott West in, Boca Raton, whatever that actual name of that hotel is. So that just general, if we have to go back to that hotel, we need to know exactly the name. You will not receive an email from Caspio acknowledging the booking. I would suggest making sure it's there. Once you put it in, open up your booking list and make sure you see it. And then the next step is going to be when that final payment is made from your clients. Clients will pay their final payment at some point between that and the time that they get back from travel, and not between, could be a couple weeks after they get back from travel. At some point after that final payment and weeks maybe after their travel, that supplier is going to pay Gateway. You will not receive an email from Caspio, but the of that booking right next to it, instead of saying booked, it might say received. If it's received, that means that Gateway has the money from the supplier. It still isn't going to pay you until the clients travel. So the clients are going to travel, and then once that money is released to you in the form of commission, it will mark as paid. So watch next to the booking list on the new CRM. You're going to see booked, received, or paid. And then you can go to the tab that is payouts, and it'll show you what was paid in that. Commission is generally paid 2 to 6 weeks after client travels, but it really does depend on the supplier. Sandals pays really fast. Theme parks generally pay pretty quick. Cruise lines pay very fast. All inclusives can be a month or more. International travel can be 2 months. Hotels can be 6 months. It really depends on the supplier.
And we get paid by direct deposit the 1st and the 15th, right? Did they do that first?
1st and 15th. Yep.
So if it comes in on the 16th, expect it on the 1st, that kind of stuff. All those details are going to be in your CRM, or sorry, in the portal, so you can see all the details. A lot of us will be missing that email, but honestly, the reports, I get enough emails for real enough, so it'll be nice just to go to that reporting.
Yep. And I will, before I post the slide deck, I will go in and edit this so that it's accurate. I missed that this week. I've been writing my my teaching for tonight for my Elevate class, and that one's a big one because I'm AI, and there's a lot. So I didn't get a chance to read this.
It's been crazy.
March is madness. Madness. 100%. Okay, so once you booked it, you put it in the CRM, you know what's going on with that client. We're not going to book it and forget. You're going to book it, but you're also going to stay in touch with your clients. You're going to send periodic updates about their travel itinerary, any changes or information related to their trip, such as flight times, hotel details, or travel advisories. Make sure that when you book something, especially cruise lines, you may need to call in to change the default email to your email, because sometimes they will send out notifications about your booking or about that sailing, and if you don't have your email contact in there, you might not get it.
I will always recommend that you put your information, because I'm not saying it happens all the time, but sometimes they'll contact your client and try to take the booking. It doesn't happen a lot, but you need the point of contact. You need the one that knows the updates. I don't share my client and phone number.
Yep,
Sorry.
that's a really good point.
Had to add that because it just had recently happened to one of our agents on a princess. So, yep.
When I was a new agent, I booked a cruise for clients, and I did not realize the thing about changing my email address. So notification went to the admin at Gateway, which we don't even really use. It's kind of a dumping ground for emails. That is where it went, that the whole cruise was canceled. And I reached out to the client because they actually saw it on a news that they'd canceled the sailing to the ship, and I was like, oh, I have plans on that ship. They had a problem, and they canceled like 6 weeks of cruises. So I reached out to the client. She had already been directly contacted by the cruise line and had rebooked, and I didn't even know because I wasn't notified. Because I didn't change to my email. I didn't know. I was brand new agent. So it did not make me look very professional. that they were reached out to by me and they had already changed. I still got my commission because the cancellation happened, and I did not get a commission on the rebook because that's how that works. So I got the original commission. I did not get the commission on the rebook. So
Yep.
they should have had to pay twice.
And
But
you know what? It's okay, and we all learn. That's why we're sharing these situations so you guys learn from stuff. So
yes, so make sure you're staying in contact. Just notice that it's like usually the 1st of January is like bathing suits are back at Target. So I know your spring break is coming. Be thinking about looking for reef safe sunscreen. And I saw an article about why in the Caribbean a lot of places require that you have reef safe sunscreen, things like that. So I usually just kind of do like touch base sort of with my clients, make sure that they know what's going on. Personalized communication, make sure that if they want to change anything, request anything, upgrade their room, anything like that. If they're celebrating milestones like anniversaries or birthdays, make sure you're just staying in contact. Travel tips and recommendations. This is something to do. I will send them typical weather for the week they're going to be, their packing lists, cultural norms and etiquette to enhance their travel experience. And I always share a story, but we get a different crowd every week. So maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. My son that's over in France right now has played dueling pianos on cruise ships as a job.
so awesome.
So first contract, he was playing with this girl and they got off at whatever port you get off at to go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They were like, yes, we're going to go do that. They did it. And when they got there, Clara was denied entry because she had a tank top on. And Pisa requires that your shoulders are covered because it's a religious site. So you have to have a certain amount of skin coverage to be able to go. Yep. So she is now the owner of a Leaning Tower hoodie that she bought at the gift shop. So she climbed the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But yeah, it's you need to know before you go. If there's something that they need to know, if they can't do a certain walking tour in flip-flops, they need to bring closed-toed shoes. If the beach at the resort they're staying at is maybe a little bit more rocky at the shore, you might want swim shoes. You're going to want to be able to communicate that to your client so that they're not surprised and they don't end up buying the $40 swim shoes in the gift shop of the hotel, and they could buy the $12 ones from Amazon. So yeah, that kind of stuff is the stuff that you're going to want to communicate to your client. You're going to want to constantly be hyping the trip, not constantly, but positive. Oh my gosh, it's snowing. I really look forward to getting your toes in the sand, that kind of stuff.
and it just is good to keep in touch. I
They have the pre-trip tasks done. Jamaica, they do those online. I know that. Make sure their passports are good for the length of time required by the country they're going to. If they need shots for anything, South America, Africa, they might need certain vaccinations, travel insurance. Helps them prepare as best you can. If there are any dates that have to go up to their departure, at Disney, or like booking shows or things that are part of their package, making sure that you're communicating those. If there are deals or upgrades that might be available to them and things that you can apply to their trip, you can communicate those well. And then once you get close, either facilitate on check travel documents or print and mail travel documents, depending on booking. I'm really a big fan of tour companies and great apps where the client can do a lot, just right here in their phone, because it puts it in their hands and in their pocket, and it's really nice. For sales clients and people who spend a little more, I'll do like a full printed travel packet with fun stuff in it.
Yep.
Personal touches, ways to keep in contact with your client and to add things that make the trip better and show that you care about their trip. Those are the things that they will remember beyond what the trip was. Personal touches are incredible. Things like keeping in contact, like we just talked about, call, text, email, or meet in person. Send a gift, make your clients feel special and appreciated. The strawberries are at the top because that is my go-to for cruises. It's affordable, really sweet. Whenever you have chocolate covered strawberries, you feel like you're doing something special. That's not an everyday thing. In fact, I have two. I have the adults are in, the parents are in one room, and then they have 3 teenage boys in the other. So I sent chocolate covered strawberries to the parents and chocolate chippies to the boys. So
yep.
hit it out. The trip, add little detail, something simple like recommending an excursion that would be unique to their interests, or notifying the resort if it's some special occasion, so that the receiving end knows that too and can make us. Thank you note, handwritten is best. Mail within a week of your client's return. And then, of course, ask for referrals, because happy clients love to share your info. I ran into a girl I went to school with, and I had booked a trip for her sister in February, and the girl I went to high school with was just like, oh gosh, Amy went on and on and on about how great her trip was. Like,
I love that.
That's great to hear. I love that. So when you do those personal touches, you're going to build trust. so that they trust and like you. You're going to enhance their experience by tailoring the recommendations and making the services and preferences makes their travel feel exclusive to them, fosters loyalty. They're more likely to return if they feel like they're valued and refer you for the same reasons. And then differentiation. Personal touches set you up from your competitors. They're not going to get chocolate covered strawberries when they book direct. They're not going to get chocolate covered strawberries from their person at Expedia. Those are things that we do, to make it special for them. And so we want to show that we are incredible at our job in all the ways that we've talked about. Touches are
referrals are the lifeblood of my business.
Absolutely.
So that is what brings it.
Yep, absolutely. So really, that's kind of like the broad overview of booking. The process, it doesn't end when you click that credit card payment.
Nope.
It's a whole thing from beginning to end. It's really a great
and it does
providing service is really part of it.
And it doesn't end at final payment, and it and when they sell you keep that relationship going, because that just helps. Because like I just said, referrals, lifeblood business.
Yep, absolutely. And next week when we talk again, we're going to talk about what comes after that booking. So we're going to expand more what that big picture looks like when you've booked it, and then what happens next. So that is that. Would love to take any questions if anybody has any. It could be about the booking process, and it could be about anything at all, really, because this one's a kind of a short topic, so we have a lot of time today. One of the things to know, especially when you're booking, and this really comes under supplier training, which we did a few weeks ago, but every supplier has a different mechanism.
Yep.
And if that is intimidating to you, if you look at that booking engine and your eyes go crossed and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much, call it in.
Especially with 9% of our suppliers are not going to penalize you for calling in.
Yes.
They're
Vacation Express is the only one that really does.
Yep, Vacation
I don't think anybody else does.
And honestly, it's only like a couple. It's like just a little drop in commission. I would rather lose a little bit of a drop and walk through and call than lose the book itself. So to me, that's what it is. I spoke with an agent yesterday. He was like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "I called in and she did all the work for me." I'm like, "Yes, we are able to do that." And there's sometimes you're going to have to call it in. I prefer to do it online too, but just, you know what? Sometimes those booking engines. I love cruise lines make it so easy to put guests in their room.
I do love that.
Sometimes I will order off Amazon and have a gift delivered to their house. There we go. Again, I just always order on Amazon. I need to stop by do.
Yeah, Marge was confused with Travel Leaders Network and using our actual supplier booking. Okay, so interestingly, Travel Leaders Network is our consortia. So that means that lots of hosts kind of band together to have access to special opportunities and discounts, and also training, and also webinars and access to direct suppliers and stuff like that. With Gateway, the only thing that we can actually book in the Travel Leaders Network site is through Cruise Complete, and access to all those cruise lines that are listed there. And if a cruise line isn't listed in our supplier listing, even if it's in Cruise Complete, you can't book it. I think Hertogruta is in there.
I think that's the only one, and
that might be the only one that's outstanding. Yeah, we're working on it, but we don't have access to all of them. If you see a supply, someone messaged me about like some tour company that's in. Unfortunately, again, there are thousands of tour companies across the world, and we are not affiliated with every single one. But we have great tour providers, and we can find something almost the same. If you find something like, and you can't book it with that company, we can find a company that will provide us.
And if you need help, if you find something, let us know. Benefit from our research. I love Cruise Complete because it makes it easy to me, especially dealing with harder than normal conventions like Norwegians. But you know
better.
And they're improving, and that's all I can ask for. Princess, their booking engine to me sometimes just makes me want to throw a rock at it. So
once you figure it out, though, it's one of those things like once you get it, it's like, oh, that's how you do it. And now I'm really at it. So Princess doesn't intimidate me at all.
I would love it if you would do a class on it.
I would. It's easy. Much harder than it needs to be. It's not that hard. Yeah, probably you.
And it's just because I'm very spoiled with easier booking engines like
Carnival makes it like in Royal. Yeah.
Royal
super
Carnival,
easy.
They make it super easy. So it's just, and plus my thing is if you're looking to add your client to for added value, you can add them to the Travel Leaders Cruise, and Cruise Complete just puts them all there. You can see exactly what the group you're putting into. It just makes it easy.
Yeah. I would recommend for booking, practice go in and set up dummy. But you don't have to. I mean, once you get to the credit card part, you just don't put a credit card. But you can practice selecting the component of the. Can I take the transfers off? Can I put in a private transfer? Have the insurance, don't have the units. Where are the prepaid gratuities? How do I add? Go into Virgin Voice, play with adding on bar tab and excursions, shore things. They call them shore clever.
Yep. There's a lot of tools out there.
Play with those bands. Try things. If you have someone who is looking at a product that you aren't that familiar with, become familiar. Get in there. Play around. Practice what their booking might look like. Yes, I know. That is true. And that's not anything that we can control. Unfortunately, it's in a perfect world, we would have a big master list and we could just check box every single one we want to be affiliated with, but each one sets up their own way. And that's on them. That is not on us.
And honestly, been here 10 years and still not registered with every single one.
I'm not registered with every, and you don't need to be. You should register with things that you're actually going to use or you think you may use. We have 120 suppliers. And there are some that I don't even think I've opened. So
no. In fact, we did a huge deep dive in the supplier listing with Mikel, I think it was 2 years ago, and like I was learning as we were going. So it was so.
Oh, I didn't know we had a supplier that do that, and I've done that too. And in my role, I've done that because I've had to get into every single supplier. I don't have logins for every supplier, but I do have a pretty good knowledge of what every supplier does.
Yeah.
So if you ever need direction on which supplier to use or why offer what you're looking for, please reach out. That is what we're here for. There's great stuff in there. There's suppliers that do exclusively travel, exclusively school trips, and exclusively for bus services or things like that. We don't really have like charter buses, but we do have some really good transfer services that are different. have limo services.
Yachts.
Cruise lines that do, yeah.
Okay. So our suppliers are vetted. They are vetted. We have a contract with. We know that they take care of our agents, and that's so important because some of these suppliers, like the nightmares going on with Airbnb right now. I mean, I seriously would die if my client went to Orlando and their lodging was canceled that day. I could not imagine putting my client through that grief. Like, seriously, I just couldn't. So that's why we work with those suppliers that are vetted, that do pay our agents. And there's a reason behind the madness, guys. There's a reason that we use and we have our suppliers. That doesn't mean that our supplier list isn't growing, because it is growing, and we are looking at new suppliers, but it's so important to work with those suppliers that we have, and there's reasons that we have them.
Exactly. And there are some that are better than others. I mean, we certainly have a couple of hotel suppliers on our list that pay maybe exactly the property your client wants. We can get it, but you need to know that you may be waiting 6 months to get your commission for some of the hotel suppliers.
Yes.
Them and Hyatt are terrible.
Yes. And that's why we find a book those. That just is. And it's like, if you guys want to pick our brains about, more than welcome to. For the woman that I talked to that was vegan with her diet or dietary restrictions, I would not have recommended Norwegian. I would not have recommended Disney, Princess, Celebrity, one of those that I know have, and I have experience with, they would have taken care of her dietary needs. And that comes with experience and training.
And that's why we're here.
Yes.
All right, guys. So we are going to end it here, I guess, if there aren't any questions. But next week, we're going to talk about what comes after booking, that process of not only following up with the client, also how do you maintain that client for the long haul. You want that client to not be one and done. You want that client coming back to you trip after trip, and sometimes multiple times a year. So we definitely want to build that foundation for your company. Is by having a good foundation of good clients will work with you every single year. All right. Okay. Well, it's still snowing outside. It was like 4 days ago. Now it's snowing.
Okay. So it was 80 degrees on Monday. Today's Thursday. So 80 degrees on Tuesday. Snowed on Wednesday, and now it's like in the 40s on Thursday. Welcome to Kansas is what I always say. We have freaky weather.
Michigan's the same.
Oh gosh, we have. Okay, my daughter went skiing this week, and she was supposed to come home yesterday. She called me. She goes, I-70's closed. The whole state of Kansas, we can't get into a. Like, that's not surprising.
Yep.
I-70
I have to remind myself it's still March. As much as I want it to be spring.
But this year is flying. So trust me, just wait a couple days and it feels like it'll be April. And maybe because my basement is still not done.
Oh, Christopher, I am so jealous. You get out in vitamin D. My day is just not here yet. Yeah.
No.
All right, guys.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you.
We'll see ya. Bye.